Hi, I'm Peter Haddock and I'm here with Lyndsey Allison at United Plant Services, Regional Operations Manager for the North and Scotland. And what we wanted to talk about here with you, because in a previous role you focused on compliance, and there's a van for that, folks, Compliance Solutions van right next to us here. Compliance, you know, it's a big word, but what does it actually mean when it comes to plant and the actual reason why you've got a van, and a few of these actually around the country?
Yep, so we currently have 5 running around the full of the UK at the moment, with dedicated engineers inside of each of them, carrying out your brake testing and safety inspections while on site. So predominantly quarrying and waste industry. What that entails is attending site every 12 weeks, completing a brake test on the machine, making sure that that's well within the legal requirements. A 360 vision test, which is a stick test, walking around the outside of the vehicle, assuming that you can be seen at all points all the way around the cab or all around the vehicle. And then you have a safety critical defect list. Obviously, depending on piece of kit you're looking at, you'll have different areas you've got to look at. So we note down any defects that we find. The guys do carry certain safety related parts in the van, so ultimately they can repair them when they're there. But that's ultimately to save on downtime and keep the customer's fleet as safe as possible at all times.
So we know things happen on site, folks. We know people have little dings and things like that. But when you're talking about certain elements, it's like mirrors. You know, if a mirror is damaged, that stick test, you're not going to be able to see all the way around, are you?
Nope, you'll have blind spots all the way around the vehicle, particularly with mirrors. They get nudged, they get moved, they get cracked, or ultimately sometimes missing completely. So
wow, exactly.
It happens.
Yeah. And so that's picked up, and so there's never a 12-week period gap between any of that sort of stuff.
No.
And I think what's really interesting as well is now we have safety systems. I mean, you've actually got the Spillard safety system around your own vans.
We do,
There's a lot of 3D camera systems and things like that again you need to check to see if they're working, isn't it?
Yeah, so we have them on all of our vehicles, from compliance solutions right the way through to engineering services, and even on the asset management side of things. That's ultimately to keep our staff safe while they're in these environments. Obviously, quarrying tends to be quite a dangerous industry. Things can change at the drop of a hat, so ultimately it keeps the guys safe, but it gives us that little bit of confidence that if an accident does happen or occur anywhere near our vehicle, we hopefully have that caught on camera. That helps us identify what the root cause was.
And it's near misses as well. So
100%.
And this is really important. We see these systems, these AI systems, recognising the human form, recognising trucks and things like that. And so that can then go to your customers and say, look, hey, there might be a way of changing some of the passing areas or something like that.
Pedestrian walkways, all that sort of thing. We try to aim to have dedicated areas, but obviously in the industry, if a machine breaks down in an unusual location for the quarry, you have to work where you are, so that keeps the guys as safe as possible at all times.
Now, the other thing, folks, what I spoke about earlier with you is you talked about brake testing, but also you talked about trending data for brake testing. Now, that's important, isn't it? Because the brakes might be good, you know, for the start, and then 12 weeks later, they've worn that little bit more, and so that's all about making sure you don't get to the stage where they become non-compliant anyway, isn't it?
Too far gone,
and so preventing that to happen, but also putting that into a maintenance schedule, for example.
100%. It's preventative maintenance. It gives you an indication of when brakes start to deteriorate. Obviously, in the industry that we're in, there's some high gradients depending. These machines sometimes are loading, unloading and hauling throughout the quarries. Some gradients are worse than others. So that gives the customer the visibility to see that when the brakes start to go in a declining sort of state, they can be proactive and actually do something about it before it gets to the point of potentially increasing the chance of an accident.
So, folks, it's really, really important for me, safety, paramount on everything that we do, making sure that actual people can go to work and go home safe at the end of the night, but also making sure that we look at the compliance solution
100%.
as such that you've got to make sure that as we work through the life cycle of a site, but also of a piece of equipment, we actually look at those core areas about how we get things done right. And you know, even if it's a damage to a safety step, for example, moving on to the equipment, all of these things play a part in making sure there's no incidents on site. So there you go, compliance. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you.